Well, for me, I think it's just an experience of the universal church. You have so many bishops and laity from different parts of the world with different cultural difficulties, different pastoral problems to deal with, but a great conviction and belief in marriage and family life. I think that's one of the most hopeful things that have come through. That's it.
And I think for me it's just the fact that we're able to have time to reflect in the context of hearing from so many people from around the world, discussing issues which are just of fundamental importance to us personally as a family, in our own family and as a church.
Well, I think it's a more in-depth experience of those differences, from the different cultures and the different pastoral concerns. You have more time, to reflect on them and to hear each other. And it was very much a listening process, a very respectful listening process. And as lay people, we were involved, in the discussions. It was a very, very good experience.
To me, it's very much like being in the family, to be honest. But of course, there are important differences. There are procedures that one needs to follow if one's to work in a small group, for example, of 28 people. You have to have a respect for the procedure so that everyone is respectfully listened to. Speaking as lay people, we can certainly say that we were listened to, and our opinions were sought and listened to, but it was a respectful listening. Ultimately, this is an extraordinary meeting of bishops. And therefore the bishops are going to make the decisions, and that's the way we work in the church. We have to recognise that, and we respect that, of course. But it was well done. It was very carefully done, and all opinions were taken into account.
It's not a final document, it's a preparation for the next synod. And so what comes out of this synod will go towards the working document for the next. So there's no definite, answers coming out of this one. I think it raises the questions. I think there's encouragement for back in all the local dioceses to continue the discussion up to the next one. And then what comes out from that, I guess, will be in the hands of the Holy Father in the final analysis. Okay.
But I think part of that, though, is a frustration, and I think that's understandable. There are people who are hurting out there. Generally speaking, they want the church to accept certain things. Sometimes these things are unacceptable. Sometimes there are misunderstandings, and they just don't understand where the church is coming from or what the church has to offer. There are all sorts of frustrations, and I think that's reasonable. I think we have to respect the frustrations. I think we have to listen to them. I think they're important, but at the same time, it has to be a process. And to say the church is always changing, to say, well, what are the changes? Well, the church is always changing. It's developing. I think developing is a better word rather than change.